dealing with a falsehood, you're faced with two options. You can accept it or you can reject it. The basis upon which we take one of these actions is a product of our critical thinking capabilities and a desire to know what is true instead of confirming our bias. A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. On Brainstorm, we choose the hard truths over the comforting lies. Reason, compassion, skepticism. This is the Brainstorm Podcast.
All right, we're back.
We are back.
To those listening live or to our patrons, welcome back. To those listening weekly, welcome to the Brainstorm Rectable, the Brainstorm production where we spend some time discussing one topic or many, depending on the way the conversation flows. This is an open brainstorming session where I kick things off with some thoughts, and we see where we go from there. I'm Cory, and I'm joined by Rene.
Hello.
Rob.
Yeah.
And Dave.
Hello.
And I still have with the amazing Dave always doing sound, but
I'm amazing today with at the table and doing sound at the same time.
That's right.
He's kind of wearing two hats.
Yes.
We are still in Roman Empire Studios in Regina, Saskatchewan, and today is September 14th, 2018. So my thoughts today, I was going to talk about sports and society and the way that we seem to be reacting to the mix of sports and politics and what's going on with Serena Williams and Colin Kaepernick.
God's driving me crazy. I forgot about that. Thanks for ruining my night.
So let's start with Colin Kaepernick then.
The easy one.
Yeah, the easy one.
Easy one. Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Easy for some people. The apparently Nike decided to sponsor him and give him quite a deal, and people on the political right are losing their shit.
Completely and utterly losing their fucking minds.
That's because they don't know what it's about. They're idiots.
They don't know, eh? What? Yeah, I don't know what there is to say about this one, really. Like,
I mean, we talked earlier before the podcast about why Nike is doing this.
That's true.
And
because they know they'll make money.
Because it's a marketing thing.
Yeah, it's totally. I mean, the problem I was having with some of this is that, is it a marketing thing? No shit. It's still, I still don't think it's a bad thing.
Not necessarily a bad thing, no.
Take it with, it's hard not to be cynical about it, but in a way, I kind of encourage it. Because, you can't, Nike's doing a good thing. No, they're wanting to pad their fucking bottom line. Of course they are. But it's not a terrible thing.
It's like okay, it's a good step. That's fine. But let's not get carried away here and think Nike is in charge of some revolution or something or some civil rights movement. Let's not get carried away here. This is just one small marketing campaign.
Yeah. The revolution brought to you by Nike and Pepsi.
I don't think so.
I mean, come on. Coca-Cola tried to convince us how many years ago that it was going to bring about unity and world peace.
Yeah.
If everyone would just...
Everybody just drinks a Coke.
Just drink a Coke together.
If everyone just drinks a Coke.
Well, back when they actually had Coke in their drink, maybe that would have.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have contributed.
Yeah.
That might have worked.
That might have been the original. That might have been the original marketing ploys. Everyone just do Coke. But they thought that might have been problematic.
Yeah, because you get a little paranoid off of Coke sometimes. So I'd imagine that would cause some problems.
Yeah. It's just that initial
euphoria.
Yeah, exactly. That's the good part.
If everybody just got that feeling, then that'd be okay.
Skip the rest.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do we think about So, I mean, Colin Kaepernick's going to get a bunch of money for this, obviously, right? So he's making a killing off of it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was kind of getting out of the NFL, like he was on the way out, really.
Yeah, he couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
After the kneeling thing.
Even before this, though, he was kind of losing favor in terms of his ability.
Right.
So I guess my question is this really, maybe I'll play the cynic here in this, like, is him taking this sponsorship deal actually kind of maybe against what he's doing in some ways, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'm on the other side, like, because I think that he uses his money in charitable ways,
Sure.
and he puts it towards good causes. So I think that him getting a deal is actually just a bonus thing for somebody who cares about activism and cares about good causes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of on that same page. We see that quite a bit with this activist becomes known, and then suddenly they have some sort of deal with some other group that they never had before. It's kind of the same thing to me.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know enough about him and what he does to really even say anything about it. I'm just curious about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, I know like he's relatively charitable. So
yeah.
Right. So that's the Colin Kaepernick I know. I don't know anything about football. I don't actually care.
Right.
But I see that he is charitable and he's doing these things because he feels it's the right thing to do. And to me, that's more important than how many touchdowns he threw.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So with the people who are wrecking their shit, are they going to be replacing that in 2 months?
You know they are. Somebody's gonna go to their closet and say, "Damn, where's my Nikes? Oh yeah, I burned them. Now I got to go get a new pair."
Jordans are the big deal right now, aren't they? Isn't it all about Jordans?
Jordans have been the big deal since I was a kid.
They've been around for a while now. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the whole thing is kind of a load of shit. Like, I mean, like he kneeled. Okay, so it's a protest. You're allowed to do that, or you should be. But they make it out as if this big patriotic
thing.
But yet, on the flip side, the patriotic thing is to have a bunch of girls in red, white, and blue bikinis dancing around, NASCARs. The messages get so fucking muddled that it makes no sense.
It's all about the message, though, and that's the problem. And they don't understand their own hypocrisy in the situation, because they'll talk about respect the flag, and like you said, they're in flag bikinis. That's not respecting the flag. That's going against the flag code. You're not allowed to wear the flag. It's just no.
Well, Trump gropes the flag, so
yeah, that's right.
So
wow. If all he does is grope it, I've seen some other videos.
He gropes it in public. Anyway.
Yeah,
I've seen him do that.
Yeah.
But
I mean that's just it. Is it? We can be. They're very, and it's been like this for a long time. That very selective with their protests. Right. So, I mean, the Black Panther fists in the air thing caused problems in the 60s at one of the Olympics. I can't remember which one it was. That was a terrible thing, but yet you flip it and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. This is a country that not that long ago didn't even let black people play professional sports.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that is true.
There's a lot to protest there for sure. I mean, a lot of history of that in sports.
Yeah, like who was I was listening to something, and it's like there are people alive right now who were engaged in the civil rights movement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like this is not old ancient news.
There's a meme going around about that. About how that was my grandma who
right
was on the bus or whatever. It's just
This isn't 100, 200 years ago.
We still have a member of Congress that marched with MLK.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, it's still here.
Yeah, so for someone to take a knee isn't that unusual.
It's such a weird mix, right? Like they're flipping out because Kaepernick took a knee in protest because of with Black Lives Matter and the police killings and whatever, and yet on a daily basis, you have Trump tweeting out about how terrible the FBI is and how terrible all these other law enforcement, witch hunt and
yes, enemy of the people.
Yeah, like it's just
that's
ridiculous.
That's the whole hypocrisy of a Trump supporter. They don't understand how stupid they really are. They are the definition of a Dunning-Kruger effect.
Right. Yeah, it's actually like that's also the same group of people who are like think that communities need more policing to prevent crime, and like they need like this increase in police presence, and that you should always respect blue lives. And then when it's the FBI and when it's Mueller investigating Trump, it's like, oh well, that's just
the Democrats.
Yeah.
Like it is
the wrong blue lives.
Yeah, those are the wrong blue lives. Exactly. Yeah, those blue lives don't matter.
Fuck that blue line.
Yeah, shit. It's really weird.
That's actually a really interesting dichotomy you just brought up. Like their national justice is like less important than some local police initiatives.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Having a president follow the law is not as important as
making sure that the guy in the neighborhood next to yours is staying in line.
Well, and there's the other contradiction, right? Like here he's protesting, but yet everyone's like, you gotta respect the flag that represents freedom, and the military that's over in those foreign lands killing all those people to bring them freedom. Like there's so many
don't use your freedom to protest your freedom.
Yeah, there's so many contradictions.
Yeah,
one of my best comments back on that is like, so these guys over there dying for freedom of your expression, but not his.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very limited freedom.
Yeah.
I just think the worst part about it all is the president even chiming in. I think that part upsets me the most. I mean, he shouldn't be taking sides on something like that. I think. Yeah,
but he has a thing against the NFL anyway because.
Oh, for sure.
He does.
Because he got fucked over by the NFL 30 years ago.
Or like when LeBron James.
He can't let go of a grudge.
No.
Like LeBron James, criticized him or whatever, and then he's on there calling him a not smart person and crap. Like it's just, it's just so like why is a president chiming in on that kind of crap?
Because he's a petty garbage person.
Like how pointless is that?
He's a complete narcissist, is what he is.
For real.
Yeah, it's just,
but too dumb to actually spell narcissist.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's right.
Hell, I don't even think he can say it.
No.
Yeah, what was that recently? Anonymous. Anonymous.
I didn't see that, but I was listening to somebody talk about it, and they said he looked like he knew that he was saying it wrong.
Yeah,
but he couldn't make himself say it the right way.
Sounded like he was having a stroke.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminded me of remember in Finding Nemo? He asked him where he lived, and it was like an
enemies.
That's kind of what it reminded me of. Watching him trying to stay anonymous.
Well, he basically has the memory of
Dory.
Same memory capacity. Well, actually, and that was talked about in this new book or whatever. Apparently, about.
Oh, is that right? In the Fear by Bob Woodward.
Yeah. I haven't looked at it yet, but I don't even think it's out yet.
Yeah, it is.
I've
got the audio
officially now.
Yeah.
But I guess this idea that he his memory is terrible and people can like as long as he kind of gets past a certain time, then he might forget about what he was going to do, kind of thing.
Well, honestly, I don't. Everyone keeps saying it and we're going off topic from the sports. Fuck Trump. But
that's our hashtag. Still our hashtag.
But the problem is I don't think it's not. I don't think it's dementia. I think it's honestly the man has 512. Megs of RAM.
Yeah.
He's
incompetent.
He's just incapable of a thought process more than a tweet.
It's incompetence, total incompetence.
He hasn't been rebooted often enough.
No. He hasn't cleared the cache since 1982.
The cookies are building up.
Yeah,
So why are we in an era where black athletes are being turned into cartoons again? And
oh, geez,
and,
what?
And,
Oh, God.
And like because you brought up Serena Williams,
Serena Williams, yeah,
or like being disrespected for their political. Like I don't know. Like we're just in this strange time warp suddenly where it's like.
Well, I think it boils down to is, well, for the longest time, like we elevated the black athletes, but they weren't allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah, don't be political.
And now that some of them are becoming political, it's like get back into just
right. It's the attempt to push back into
throw the ball, hit the ball, entertain me, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
goes all the way back to Muhammad Ali.
Oh yeah,
he was the best.
Or even further back than that. I mean, but he was the first really huge figure to have a political statement and be black.
Yeah, he was probably one of the first ones to really. I mean, I could easily be wrong. I'm not really up on my sports history, but he was probably one of the ones that were really, really vocal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was incredibly vocal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think he was the first one that was allowed to be vocal. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
that's true.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite likely.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like I recently was listening to a show about the first black baseball player that everybody knows,
Jackie Robinson,
but wasn't actually the first black baseball player.
Not the first in the league, or like they had their own league, right? They had like
right. Yeah, but there was another one before Jackie Robinson.
It could be, yeah,
but didn't get the same publicity for some reason.
Wasn't as talented, maybe, as Jackie Robinson.
Maybe. I can't remember the name though. Damn it.
Colin Kaepernick? No, just kidding. No.
So, I mean, there has been a lot of back and forth on the whole Serena Williams thing, and I guess I didn't really see the racist angle of it until that cartoon came out in whatever magazine that was.
Like a Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Well, the only problem with that is
I don't think it was before the cartoon. I don't think there was a racist angle to it. It was a sexist angle.
Right.
Because it was a difference between what men in the field do and what women in the field do. And until that cartoon came out, no one even brought up race.
Yeah, and then that made it like more about women of color than just a straight like sexist issue.
Right.
Although with Serena Williams, like I was reading other articles and they were talking about it. I mean, she's been kind of facing that from day fucking one.
Right.
I mean, there were people. I remember seeing the pictures of them when they used to both her and her sister would wear the braids and the beads and all that kind of stuff. There'd be people bitching because when they were on the court, they clacked. It's like,
is that right?
Yeah. And I'm like,
yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
Wow.
Half the guys look like idiots with those fucking sock headbands. Like, who fucking cares?
Monica Seles would make the most interesting noises when she played. That was,
if I remember it, she was downright almost pornographic to some of the noises.
Yeah. She was an incredible tennis player until she got stabbed, which was unfortunate.
Eesh.
Yeah, while playing, which was
really
yeah. I remember that happening. Yeah.
Somebody rushed out of the crowd.
Holy shit!
Stabbed her right during a game.
I do not remember that.
It was just the most bizarre moment. Like it was. It pretty much ruined her career.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine even that would be like there'd be a lot of trauma involved.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
But I mean, with the Serena Williams thing, to try to bring it back from stabbing, but the thing is I was listening to podcast Vox Explained, and they were talking about it. And the weird thing is, technically speaking, everything that was done to her is in the rule book. It is allowed,
right?
And how it was kind of a slight miscommunication. How it started was because apparently her coach was coaching from the sidelines, which is not allowed, but she didn't see it. Okay. And so that's where the initial thing is, well, why the hell are you taking a point away? She didn't see it. But that's still allowed.
Does anybody know why that's against the rules?
And this is where it gets confusing. Is that normally it is allowed, just not in Grand Slam.
This is bizarre.
Explain to me anything that in tennis that makes fucking sense.
I think every sport has
That's true.
Every sport has those like certain things that are kind of unsaid rules that are like there are things like that, right?
True.
Like I think in soccer there's like people will come and stand in front of the ball when you have a free kick, and they're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to do
and
that.
and they'll do that to delay you. And it's like technically against the rules, but then that like prevents you from kicking right away. So then they push you back. Like so, it's like people break rules in sports all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing is even like taking like what was it giving her the point or taking away the one game or whatever, that was all in the rules. It's just that it was weird that this umpire applied it.
He applied it at that point. Yeah,
that's where it gets questionable because other people it never happened to them. And the other thing, I can't remember whether it was in the podcast or something else I read, but I mean, John McEnroe was notorious as a complete and utter grade A prick.
It was entertaining, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But some of those rules came into play because of McEnroe.
Oh, was that right? They weren't part of the deal before?
Yeah, but because he was such a dick, that's why they brought in some of those rules. But it's still never really been applied. And then suddenly to apply it to Serena, that's why it suddenly became, what the hell? Like,
right.
I mean, that's just it. It's like anything, so she broke her racket. Whatever. Guys do it all the time. You're not supposed to. There is rules against it. But they made a big deal because it was Serena Williams. You know, I mean, and the sad thing is apparently that she overshadowed, this whole thing overshadowed this other girl that played against her. And Serena Williams in an interview said, no. You know, you should give her all the credit in the world. She was amazing. She beat me fair and square.
Right.
Like that. It was just this other stuff. And that might have been even part of it. It was, she was being frustrated because here's this girl, way younger than her, just taking her to the mat.
Right.
You know, and the frustration boils over. So what? It happens all the time. It's just that it was just weird that this umpire applied these rules so stringent with her. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no one.
I think it goes back to selective outrage again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There are lots of examples of that with women versus men for sure. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're a slut, but you're a hero.
Yeah.
I mean, she even got shit for, what was it? Her cat suit she was wearing?
Yeah, she wanted to wear.
She had like a tutu before or something, didn't she? Or
No, what it was apparently she was wearing like a full onesie, which was like this full body thing, which is basically, it was a compression suit because she was having blood clot issues.
Yeah.
Right.
And those were against the rules. You had to wear a skirt. Well, why?
I hate that part of tennis.
Why?
Yeah, I don't understand
Why?
Yeah, I never understood that.
Just wear whatever you're comfortable
Why
in.
do they have to wear a skirt? Shorts are way better for tennis.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah,
I mean, other than tennis and golf are the two whitest sports ever. And because it's the whitest sport, they have the dumbest fucking rules.
Yeah.
I think you're forgetting croquet and lacrosse.
Well, lacrosse isn't really a white sport.
Yeah, it's First Nations.
Yeah.
True.
But
That is true.
croquet is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Croquet is fucking ridiculous.
Nobody even knows what that is anymore.
Yeah. I mean, the only other one I can think
Just
of
as
is
old
like,
guys.
Yeah, just us old guys.
cricket is like incomprehensibly British.
Yeah. Did you watch the Vox Explained on
Yeah,
that
I
one?
did.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's so convoluted. I could not follow.
I think hockey's the whitest sport we have.
Yeah.
How many brown people are in hockey? You can probably count them on like two hands.
Well, my instinct is to say there's more than one.
Definitely more
That's
than one.
how white it is.
There's more than one. I dare you to name more than PK Subban, though.
My instinct wasn't more than 10. It was more than one.
But other than they don't have quite the same ridiculous rules of uniforms. I mean, they all have uniforms, but it's not like you have to wear the tutu.
They just have hyper masculinity rules.
That's true.
Yeah.
Where
That's true.
you should fight each other for some reason, and it's
Yeah.
part of the game for some
And
reason.
somehow that doesn't get you ejected.
Yeah. You should be a man and take every blow you get and get up and
Even though it's just literally just two idiots wailing on each other. There's like no skill, no talent, no nothing. Just two idiots.
Yeah, it's so much a part of the game that Nintendo put it into their ice hockey game.
that was hilarious.
Part of the you get to win because you had more fights.
The original ice hocky, like they'd all pile up and
Yeah.
bounce out and stuff. It was hilarious.
and
Just
it's-
pound the buttons. And just,
Yeah,
And it's so ridiculous because I do Krav Maga and I get people looking at me like I'm fucking insane, and yet they all cheer hockey fights.
oh yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, at least Krav Maga, that's the point of the sport. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's-
it's combat of some sort.
And it's way more controlled.
Way more controlled, yeah.
Ironically, yes.
Yeah. Probably because that's the point of the sport.
Yeah, I guess that's it. That's just it.
We definitely have that between women and men in sports. There's definitely like some double standards. There's even just the importance put on it is different and things like that. So they treat them both differently.
Didn't we talk about a few years ago something about like women tennis players were actually getting paid far less than men tennis players, even though the ratings were much higher?
Yeah.
So
I think there was something like that. Yeah, the prize money was less or something.
There was something I read about that because Serena Williams brought that up too.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, she's been kind of a fly in the ointment for a while for tennis.
Women's tennis has always been far more interesting too. Like even though you have top players, like there is some moving around of that. Where I find in men's tennis, there's always like two or three,
and that's just
and that's it. Like there was a while there where it was like I can't remember what their names are anymore, but there was like two people at the top always in every final, and it was just like, okay, so why are we watching?
Right?
Why is this interesting? But
I just remember the other one was there was an example. I think it was during the Australian Open a couple of years ago. It was really bizarre where some sports reporter was talking to one of the women's players and asked her to spin around.
Yeah,
dude, like basically a pirouette. I'm just like,
why?
Why?
I remember that.
That's really weird.
That's
that is
fucking weird. Why?
Yeah, could you imagine like reporters going up to Ronda Rousey and saying, "Hey, can you spin around for me?"
Well, I could imagine the outcome of that. Spinning roundhouse kick right to the head.
Yeah,
but you know,
yeah. Why don't they wear skirts in UFC? Those women.
well, technically they do wear.
It's almost like skirts don't make one play sports better.
Yeah. Or LeBron James in a tutu. Get him to twirl around.
Yeah. Let's see the NBA
Yeah.
in tutus or skirts or whatever.
Or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
They've just started loosening their clothing rules with like compression socks and things like that.
Right.
They used to have really strict rules with some of that stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just these arbitrary weird rules. Like I get wanting to have standard equipment. I get that because it's supposed to be two equals, seeing who's the better. But it's just so locked into these weird dressing, tennis.
Yeah.
It's got to be these kind of shorts and this kind of, women all have to wear skirts. I think there's weird rules in like golf. Women have to golf in skirts too or something. There's like weird rules in golf, like what you're allowed to wear.
They just had a big golf tournament here, actually.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't know if it was Canadian Open or something.
Okay.
Like ladies golf. In town.
Yep.
PGA. Or
Isn't that right?
LPGA.
LPGA right here in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Yep. It was at
Go
the
figure.
Wow.
Wisconsin.
You guys are up and coming.
That's right.
We're getting everything here.
Yeah.
Or not.
Or not. Mostly not. Okay. I don't know. I think we kind of killed this topic.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else.
Sports.
Sports.
We already talked about the sports ball.
Sports ball.
Sports and politics is a weird combination.
It is.
It is, yeah. But I mean, ultimately, maybe this is one thing I'll say is that this is like wealthy people are in politics, right?
Right.
And this is one way for African Americans to be wealthy is through sports. So the amount of influence that wealthy people have in politics is quite high. So you could expect wealthy African Americans to use that in some respect. So, and they're frightened by that, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the other way they had and still do have access is through music.
Yeah.
And that causes so much problems. I mean, I just watched the Straight Outta Compton movie again on Netflix.
Yeah. Right.
And NWA scared the living shit out of people.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you say, I watched that Hip Hop Evolution not that long ago, and when they got to the episode about gangster rap and how just the message of we're not going to just get pushed around anymore scared the shit out of people. And I mean, politicians reacted to that and tried to censor it.
They framed the letter that the FBI gave to the NWA. It's sitting in the Hard Rock Casino.
Oh,
I think it's in Vegas.
That's pretty cool.
Huh. That is cool. Yeah, I remember when I was a teenager when all that stuff started coming out with Ice-T, Ice Cube, and all this stuff, and the song "Fuck the Police" came out, or "Cop Killer."
Yep.
Man, those were huge.
Oh,
right. Everybody was playing them. Yeah, but society just wanted to shut everything down.
And I think that
made it worse, actually.
Yeah, well,
that's
it's
right.
the Streisand effect. And I think that's, in a way, this is a kind of like what's happening with Kaepernick, is that because he's daring to step out of that line. Oh shit!
One funny thing is, I like that we bring up music because hip hop culture has been co-opted over time too, right? Like it's been watered down. It's not political anymore. It's just, hey, look at this trashy way of living. Let's glorify it. And it's cool. And like it's like a product now, right? It's like it's been.
Well, mind you, it's kind of like watching that evolution. It was kind of weird, is because it started out in the party world.
Yeah.
And then there was other elements linked in a little bit, and then it exploded with the gangster rap, and now it's back to
it's complete party world.
Yeah.
But gangsters are partiers. It's the gangsters are glorified like that's like that's it's weird how it's become the predominant mainstream culture is like black men are kind of objectified and turned into, I don't even know like how to say it, like they're kind of like icons of fashion and icons of just culture in general, but nothing that's politically meaningful per se. It's like it's almost like using the oppression of like hood life as a marketing tool for capital and it's cool. It's cool now. Like everybody wants to be like that. Like they own the zeitgeist of music culture right now. But in a very like exploited way. It's really strange.
Very, yeah.
Then again, you look at it, like even in the NBA, how many? I mean, I used to make the bad joke a long time ago, where it's how many more thugs are there in? Is there more thugs in the NBA or the NFL?
It's a good question. Yeah. And that's like that's almost like part of the marketing tool for Yeah, it's really weird. Like I've seen some really interesting analysis about. I wish I could remember them, but about rap culture now, where it's at, and what it means, and
it would be interesting to learn more about,
and almost how detrimental it is to African Americans in general, right? And like just their perception of who they are,
right,
within American society, right? So,
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. The rap scene of the mid '90s through the 2000s completely changed the stereotype of Black Americans.
Oh yeah,
eh?
I mean, I growing up in America, I grew up a little bit before the rap scene, so there was the stereotype that was still left over from the 70s, right? But then suddenly it just changed to this entire new gangster thug thing as compared to, like the 70s, it was more like the pimp.
Yeah, I was going to say
your
the
stereotype, right?
Yeah.
And it completely changed the entire. I don't want to say it changed the demographic, but it changed the way we viewed the demographics.
Definitely.
Does it? I don't want to sound like a conspiracy nut, but does it seem like maybe corporations or people in power would take an image and market it with an intent to try and influence a culture and the way that people are perceived?
I don't think so. I think the way and it's kind of weird, is because if you look at it, like the hip hop scene, like the gangster rap thing was a reflection of their, the streets,
right? The life
and that hardcore, weird, whatever. But the weird part about it was once it started to break, it really got sold and to the suburbs,
right?
Right.
And it's kind of
even NWA.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. And it was the same kind of thing with the it's like the heavy metal, hair metal explosion of the 80s. It's all this rebellion and, these guys in tattoos and, Motley Crue and all that. It was kind of a rebellion, but once again it got marketed and exploded in the suburbs. That's why it got so big. It's kind of a weird thing, is because the corporations, they're not thinking that far ahead.
They're just following money.
They're just following
the
money.
marketization of rebellion is enough.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They're not thinking, oh, how can we manipulate the society for the next generation, and then we can manipulate. No, it's like, oh fuck, that's selling there. We will need more of that. Keep selling that. Keep selling that. Keep selling that. Keep selling that.
The culture just shifts and follows it.
Oh, that's not selling anymore. What's the next thing that we can market and sell?
Yeah.
Yeah, music is the epitome of that concept, because if you follow anything about musical history, that's exactly how it's gone. If you go, so you had the hard rock of the 60s and the early 70s, which turned into disco and punk later on, right? And those turned into dance and metal. And this evolution of music just plays with a societal shift.
Yeah, they kind of almost like feed each other in some ways too, right? Like, it's interesting.
And try to bring it all the way back. It's the same thing as with it's all marketed very cynically. It's just like it's like Nike,
right?
Like we were saying earlier about Nike. Like they're like going.
They're not activists.
They're not like we must. This is a good social stance. We must. No, it's
civil rights is our focus.
Yeah, we've taken this to the focus groups,
and they like
this, and they like this. Our statistical analysis.
Right, yeah. They didn't just do one focus group. They did a series of...
And the people who buy their shoes specifically.
Yeah, probably, that's right.
So, let's cater to them. It's almost like the way Trump does his politics. It's like, what does my base want? Okay, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Build a wall.
I'm thinking Nike put a lot more thought into it.
Well,
a lot more thought.
Sorry. Trump didn't put thought into that.
Yeah.
It was the people around him who did, but,
yeah,
same kind of marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Just pander to your base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everybody's marketing strategy all the time.
Basically. It's true.
Pander to the base.
Yeah.
Ugh. I guess, Shit. All right. Anything, Dad?
No, I think we got some good discussion with that.
Yeah, I think we beat that one down.
We killed it dead.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we'll close.
We didn't even have to talk about the Fox News article you had linked in there.
No, thank goodness.
Thank you.
Fake news.
So we'll close the rec table. I will post all my links for our discussion in our show notes.
If you like what we're doing and want to help us keep the lights on, go become a patron at patreon.com/brainstorm podcast. You can hear the bonus half hour that we record every episode and get a shout out when you support the show. Become a patron for just $1 an episode at patreon.com/brainstorm podcast. Or you can support the show by ordering a t-shirt, mug or other gear from our store at cafepress.ca/brainstorm podcast gear. If you can't afford to become a patron or buy gear, then why not give us a rating or write a review on iTunes or Stitcher? Every rating makes it easier for people to find us. Thanks for your support.
Hey everybody, we're the Utah Outcasts, and we want you to listen to our show.
We're a rowdy bunch of super liberal atheists that reside in the state of Utah, who bring you current events and featured content on a semi-weekly basis.
Whether it's us poking fun at the religious right or ranting at the world in which we all reside, we want to borrow your ears for about an hour twice a week.
Hey, and don't forget to tell them the best part about it.
Oh yeah!
The show's free for all.
It is indeed, so if you like free, we're available through iTunes, Overcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, Patreon, and even in full HD video via YouTube. Give us a listen. You won't be sorry.
All right, and now for the plug your stuff segment.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Rob. You got stuff to plug.
I do have stuff to plug. I am the director of the Original Model Project, a organization who is bound and determined to change the American motto from "In God We Trust" to "E Pluribus Unum," as our founders intended.
Right.
You can find all our stuff at originalmotto.us. And I'm just happy in there hitting the streets with that message. So
cool. I will definitely add a link to that in our show notes.
Cool.
Dave, do you have a thing to plug?
You know, there's so much going on in my life. I'm like...
It's hard to pick one thing.
I'm grasping to think what I should plug. I know there's... I don't know when it's happening, but one of the films I scored is screening in London.
That's cool.
Next month, I think, or something. I'm like, I don't know when things are happening because there's too much.
Right.
But, that's called From Up North. It's a short film about a residential school survivor and kind of his story. Actually,
from up north.
From Up North, yeah.
Okay,
it's actually interesting. It's short, but it's like basically there was a whole interview process with the residential school survivors, and so people like collected stories basically. Wow. And so this First Nations friend of mine, she's a filmmaker as well, and she was like adopted into a white family, so has a very different childhood experience than some of her colleagues, right? And so she was one of these, I think they call them truth keepers, or I don't know, I can't remember what they called them, but anyway, she interviewed people who were in residential school. So we had an elder come in, and Noel Starblanket is his name, and she interviewed him, and it was really interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
So good 2 hours of interviewing, but very short film.
I will... I will look that up, and I will try and find some information to post in the show notes. Yeah,
for sure. Because like I say, it's screening in London. It's screened lots of places already.
Right.
But, it probably will continue to screen at various festivals.
Very cool.
So,
Rene, you got anything going on?
No, of course not.
Okay. Brainstorm has a newsletter now.
Oh.
I will be sending out a weekly newsletter. You can sign up by going to our website and clicking on the sign up click thing button. It's called a button. Up in the right-hand corner of your screen. Or there should be a pop-up that comes up if you go to our website, brainstormblog.net. You'll get news, updates, links, and the news show notes, and a bunch of other stuff every week. I guess that's it. Let's click that outro music. For all the other things, you can check out the show notes at thebrainstormpodcast.com and our website, brainstormblog.net. Thanks to our financial supporters, Kayla, Janet, Kim, Stephanie, Zach, the Utah Outcasts, Bassett, Will, Aaron, Daryl, Destin Sucks, Bob Glenn, Destin doesn't suck that much, Magnus, several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave, Positively Skeptical, Rob, Keith, the Podong Polymath, and Larry. If you want to join them and help the show grow, then you can do that at patreon.com/brainstormpodcast. Or you can go and buy some stuff at tpublic.com/stores/brainstorm-podcast-gear. You can join us every 2 weeks on brainstormradio.net. Our next live show is on September 28th, and our guest will be Baba Brinkman, science rapper. Thanks again to Richard for joining us. You can find more of his stuff at Facebook.com/theearthboundparent, or I think he said Eurasia.com.
I don't remember. I'm just going to Google his name.
I'm also going to Google his name, and I recommend you do it as well. So make sure to check that out. And also remember, I'm offering a free copy of his book, The Earthbound Parent, to the first listener to get in touch with me. Thanks, Rob, for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
I will definitely post links to the original module project.
That's right. I own that website too.
Okay.
I got Fox News bungled us one time, and I went and bought it.
Perfect. Thanks to Dave for our intro music. Thanks to Aaron Rabbi from Embrace the Void podcast for doing the voiceover for the intro. You can find his stuff at voidpod.com. Thanks to Alex Capper-Murdoch for doing the voiceover for our ads, and thanks to Jason Camo for our outro music. You can find his stuff at loststateofmind.com. All music played is either with permission or under the SOCAN license to play. For more information on SOCAN, you can check out the music license info page on our website, brainstormblog.net. Remember to give us a rating, a thumbs up, or a fave on your podcatcher of choice. Join our Facebook group, like our page, follow us on Twitter, share the show, and spread the word. Seriously, share, like, comment on Facebook or Twitter. Reply, retweet, and all of that stuff. Increased engagement means more people see the stuff. Thanks for listening, and remember, the truth matters.
This is an opinion-based podcast. Each person on the podcast is responsible for their own opinions, and those opinions don't necessarily reflect the views of the rest of the panel. Any guests or anyone associated with the people on the podcast, such as spouses, partners, children, other family members, friends, or employers. No one person speaks for the podcast with the possible exception of Cory, and he doesn't speak for anyone else on the show. The Brainstorm podcast does not represent the views of our sponsors.